So I will call the meeting to order at 7:02. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. To start off, we'd like to acknowledge some staff anniversaries. We would like to congratulate and thank Yvette Kauser for 15 years of service. Thank you, Yvette. Yvette, so you were in the children's room for a few years.
Yes, I was the head of children's for 3 years.
So you've been our director for 12 years.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all that you have done for the library. And we also want to congratulate and thank Kelly Pittman, who has been with the library for 5 years. So please pass on our thanks to Kelly.
I will. And Kelly wanted me to pass along that she wasn't able to be here tonight, but that she has very much enjoyed working at the library for 5 years.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so we'll jump right in to August's action items. I say that as though I have them right in front of me. I'm pulling them up. So okay, August action items. Let's see. Okay, the first one was that I was going to email the trustees for dates regarding our retreat orientation. Due to a number of things, we did not schedule that, so that is on our agenda to do coming up. I did not find a trustee orientation checklist, which was also on my list. The town center committee is meeting again, and Nelson Disco mentioned that they do need a representative from the Library Board of Trustees. They meet usually on Fridays at noon, which is a hard time. So I'm just going to put it out there for people to consider. It's really lovely that they want to have us involved. I've gone before, like when I had a week off or that sort of thing. And, you know, it's just a hard time for people. So if you just want to think about that, and if someone thinks that would be something they'd be interested in doing, just let us know.
Okay. Is it at the town hall?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And is it like an hour or more?
Yeah, it could be like, yeah, I'm not really sure
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's very interesting, you know,
Yeah.
you hear what's going on, but I think that their charter says that they have a member from the board, which I really appreciate because they want to include us in things. It's just not always possible,
Yeah.
given people's schedules, for us to do
I will
that.
take a
So,
look.
okay, perfect. We were all going to review the library director job description and document, and we will discuss that in non-public. And Yvette was going to send out an org chart to the board.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yvette, we will add that to the action items for this month. So, okay, was there anything else that I forgot to mention? Okay. The scheduling of the Library Board of Trustees retreat is on old business. Thank you for putting it there, Yvette. I don't know if people already have, I know I have a couple weekends that won't work for me in October. I feel like the fall is just it's a really challenging time with different things going on. Should we try again another email round and like put out a couple dates and see if we can find something? Yeah, that's
Are we
probably.
still shooting for only Saturdays?
Well,
Starting with Saturdays?
I mean, we could do something during the week. I just don't know what works for people best. So.
Okay.
I know October is so much better for me.
Then
I
September.
only have 2 Saturdays that I can do. I
Okay.
already looked,
All right, what Saturdays are they?
the 12th and 26th.
I can't do the 26th.
I can't do the 12th.
Okay, so we're back. So maybe
Oh, yeah, you can't.
No, I can't.
so maybe we need to look at a day, an evening. That sounds like that might be a good move for us. So, you know, I'll send out a couple of evenings and we'll try to schedule something. Okay. SMP is a placeholder. Strategic plan. Deb Hoadley told me that she's going to be implementing changes to the survey. I guess Jen Stover sent her some changes. I sent you a link to the survey, and I did email Deb and ask her, are the changes already in place? So I'll let you know when I hear back from her, but feel free to take a look at that. And then she would be setting up a meeting with the steering committee to go over the results, and move forward. So that's where we are with that.
So you're verifying if all of the
the changes that,
Questions.
yeah, so
in
I guess,
that.
she got some input, and I just wanted to know if the link that you sent us with the survey, have you made the changes yet? So
Right.
when I hear from her that this is the final one, or that she's made the changes, but you'll have the link either way,
Okay.
so
And
you
then
can
it's
take a look
gonna
at it.
go-
Go out, and I think she said till October 4th, she wanted to distribute it, so. All right, so we're moving forward.
Okay.
Okay, building maintenance project list and CIP. So everybody should have received that from Yvette. Are there any things you wanted to highlight for us, Yvette? Or any-
For which document? The
Why don't we st-
CIP
why don't we
or
st-
the?
why don't we start with the building project list?
Okay.
Is there anything on there that?
Okay, one of the things that is, has a recent update is the chiller. So when we did the chiller walkthrough, which Janet was present for, several of the vendors said that they had suggestions for a different way to approach this project, and not, they basically said that replacing the chiller wouldn't solve the problems that we have.
Okay.
So we talked at length with one of them afterward, and he is suggesting we take a step back and look for two different things. One is a maintenance schedule for the entire system, which we have gotten away from, and then the other one is to go back to Iris Wyatt and have her create a design for, I probably have it written somewhere, but it's a different way to do the heat exchange. It's what a couple of these vendors think is that, and especially this one we spoke to after, we could make repairs on the chiller, and then I even was talking to someone in the hallway where they're like, well, you should rip out all these pipes. It's a different approach than just replacing the chiller. I think they're looking at, a different design for the system. So we need to take a step back. I told Kelly to pull the RFP so that we wouldn't be wasting anyone's time drafting up their RFP for us and submitting it again, and we're just gonna take a step back and then put out a different RFP for these two different kind of projects.
I guess it's been sort of out there that we need a chiller,
Yep.
Like, where did that come from? Was that what we were told originally? Like, or we thought, or was the thought, we don't have air conditioning that works, so it must be a problem with the chiller, but now we're finding it's a problem with the whole system?
Well, yes. So when the last time the chiller failed, and we had a vendor come in to repair it, that was Johnson Controls, who said you should repair the chiller, but also rebuild this whole system.
Mhm.
But it was, okay, wait, do we have to repair? I mean, we were still, the same questions were being asked back then. It was, do we need to replace the chiller or rebuild the system? And it was, no, you need to replace the chiller. But, I think the question now with these vendors is, did this other vendor want to sell us a system?
Mm-hmm.
And so then we stepped back and did the energy audit. We did a lot of stepping back to say, okay, what's really the problem here? This current system has to be maintained.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of, I think, reactionary repairs to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what one of the engineers was saying to us. I think I can say, in reality, yeah, we have been reacting to issues with it and not having a, kind of a full scope of what's a maintenance plan look like for this, and where in that does updating the system and doing something with the chiller, be it replacing it or repairing it, where does that fall in this kind of long-term overhaul or assessment of the system?
I think we're in this situation where it's probably been pieced together as
It has
additions
been.
and
It
that
has
sort of
been.
thing.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
that was our initial thought was before we go in and get a quote for the whole system is like, like you said, step back and said, like, what's the problem? What's going on here? What can we take care
Right.
of? Which we did get some information from the people who did the word is escaping me now, the retro commissioning. Yeah. So is that still stuff that we need to do with the retro commissioning agent?
Well,
come up
right
with?
now where we are with the retro commissioning, if you look at the building and maintenance project list, we've had some of the things done and some of the things have to be addressed still. So we've got, for the faulty valves, this needs to be investigated for a replacement. The mechanical ventilation, that is a design that we have received from Iris, but now I think the question is this the design that we should go forward with, or what these vendors from the chiller walkthrough are saying, there's yet a different design, not this design, there's another design that we should ask her to design. And then things that we completed, replace the actuators and the HVAC units, Jared has done that, and that was
Okay.
on the retro commissioning
Mhm.
report. So there's the ones Jared has been able to address, he's addressed. The other ones now, we need a design for. I mean, I think once we can get back with Iris and get a design, and then that can be presented to the board, and then the board can see maybe a bigger picture of options.
So the idea is that it'll be more cost effective to do these changes to the overall system than to replace the chiller.
What this engineer was saying to us was we should ask for a maintenance plan and also a long-term plan so that the trustees would know, repair this year,
Mhm.
repair this section next
Mhm.
year, repair
Mhm.
this section in 2 years.
Mhm.
But we don't have that at all.
But
Sure.
that was something we were hoping to get out of this
It was.
process
It
too,
was.
so
Okay.
that we could, phase in and do. But we also didn't want to do like we did this one part, but it was not going to follow through for other parts.
Mhm.
So to have
Mhm.
a more comprehensive.
Right,
Right.
and it's always been challenging to get that long-term plan from any of the vendors. And the two vendors that we had worked with, one of them used to work with 2 vendors ago, and he was the one talking to us and saying, well, I was the one who put this in. The question that we have on the library side is, if you put it in, why wasn't it completed?
Mhm.
Because it's still, it's supposed to turn on and off, and you can turn the heat on, and I'm not an engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just talk in circles. We were trying to figure out what.
We can, because it's supposed to, these pipes and those pipes, and they're supposed to turn on the hot and cold, and it has never worked. But then
Mhm.
when we had Iris come in to assess it, when she assessed it, she was like, well, this is half built.
Mm.
So why wasn't it finished? And I said, I don't know.
Right, and so even if you do replace the chiller or whatever it's called,
Right.
if the rest of it isn't working, you're
Right.
still going to have the same problems
Yep.
because the system's not built out properly.
Right.
So.
Right, but then there's also maybe the option of new technology,
Mhm.
new kinds of, new or different piping and fittings, things that are gonna be more efficient. Some of these guys were like, well, you're gonna see leaking in the ceilings. Well, we see that. It's like, oh, well, these are old pipes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, they are.
We know,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of, well, I want to know what new technology is out there, so that we can have some kind of exchange
Mm-hmm.
that's more efficient, that will, we can address and kind of
Yep.
repair it or replace it little by little. I can't even think about how it would impact services if they're in the ceilings or in the floor. This one person was like, oh, well, you can get rid of all these registers in the floor and all the end units, and it's like, how long are we closed,
Mm-hmm.
to the public? Or are we gonna close the children's room?
Yeah.
We need to really plan for an overhaul
Mhm.
of the system or a rebuild of the system, and I think the trustees need to decide if they want to do that.
So we need to get more information.
We need to
before
get
can
more
do that.
information. Short term, we need the maintenance plan. Long term,
Yep.
You need an overview with a design.
Mhm.
It's hard to
And
do
hope,
an RFP when you don't know what you want.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
We-
you have an end goal.
Sure, and we submitted an RFP based on something one vendor gave us several years ago when the chiller failed. And it was, they came in to repair it and go, well, and so the question is, are they upselling? At the time, were they
Yeah.
upselling? And maybe they were.
Right.
So
Does it solve the
we've
problem or
always
does
been
it not?
taking step backs going, what does this mean? What does that mean? What does this
Mhm.
mean? So,
Hopefully some of the changes with the valves and whatever that Jared had done is going to at least help us move us toward that goal, right? Because
Yeah.
those were things that weren't working, that are
Right.
that are part of the functioning system. So at least we fixed that part, and then we'll
Yeah.
keep going from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so that's one thing that, is very involved and can't be reported in a short way on this forum, but now you have.
Okay.
And we'll just start tracking that.
Great.
I don't know if there was anything that jumped out at you guys. The bathroom sink was repaired, the trees were both cut down,
yeah.
the root system of the maple in the front was, taken down. Those were both taken down by DPW. They were fantastic and quick. Garden Club has been informed of, the maple, and they're, doing a soil test so that they'd like to put in a Japanese maple to replace the maple that was dying at the entrance, but they have to send the soil away so that they know how to amend it so that it will be prepared for the Japanese maple. And then the extra plantings will be secondary. So they're working on that.
Great. All right. Any questions for Yvette? Can I just ask on the, it's a small thing, but on the document itself under status, sometimes there's the year and sometimes there isn't. So if, like, for instance, it says flat roof maintenance bid opens 9/27.
Yep.
Could we just add the years in just so we know, like, because like
Okay.
down below, it says for the other one, retro commissioning 8/22/24. And you could say, especially as we start getting closer to a new year, just to know what year, because some of these things have been on the list through no one's fault, just like since 21 was replace the chiller, so 2021. So it would be good to just make sure that the years are on all of
Okay.
them, so we can
We've
keep
got,
track
like,
of it.
Several people.
Yes, I figured
editing
as
this
much.
right
I
now,
figured as
so,
much. So if
um,
we just so we can keep the years like on there, that'd be great.
I guess along those thoughts, maybe right before you send it out, to just sort by date. So then
Which
it's,
date?
the date added, so then, and I don't care if it's the old ones first or the new ones first, but I was like, at first I was like, I thought it was done by date, 'cause it had all the 24s at front, and then I kept going, and I was like, oh, there's a 21 there, and then I found another 24, and then there was a 23, and that was all over the place, so,
Sure.
excellent.
Any other, Erin, you seem to like spreadsheets. Anything you want to add to that? I know.
I mean, it's very much a working spreadsheet.
Yes,
so
yes,
I
yes,
understand
yeah,
that's not,
yeah.
like, I love that we're just getting them in there and,
Yeah.
then we can go back and edit later and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just love that we're keeping track of all this stuff because if
Yeah.
it was in someone's head or.
Oh my gosh,
on
like, yeah.
It would be,
Yeah.
so I love this and I love getting to see everything gets done every month.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling, right?
Good
And
feeling.
it's like,
Even if they're just small things, they're coming off the list, so that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
all right, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, CIP then. We'll move on to that.
That was submitted on time.
Okay, great.
I
Any?
haven't gotten anything back from them.
Okay. So I guess that's just, we know that it's been submitted,
Yeah.
it's there, and you'll let us know if you hear anything.
Yep.
I mean, there was nothing out of the ordinary. It's pretty much the same things we've been working through, so. And that's another good reason, to have a document like that, is that we're keeping track of things. People can see the different things that are being done, small and large, so it's good to have that. Okay, moving on to new business. Fiscal year 2024-25 budget, general ledger, invoice manifest, and open POs.
I had a couple things. So, on the general ledger,
Mm-hmm.
I had sent an email to Yvette, and I just wanted to point it out to the board, that the building line, the 8502, has $0 in it. Yvette is checking as to why that is. There should be money in that line. It's encumbered money from past years, and long story, but there should be money there. And Yvette is tracking down that money. So between the building line being 0 and then none of the money that is expected in the encumbrance column, she's tracking it down because there's a significant amount of money that's not there.
So every open PO should be in the encumbered
Yes.
for us, right?
They haven't closed the year.
Yeah.
And when I went back, what I wrote to you is that I went back through the different budget books from previous years, and that line is always 0. There was one budget book that had $2,000 in it. So when the budget book comes out, it's, as far as I can see, and I don't have confirmation from Paul McCallie, who was the finance director for years, that the encumbrances show up in the budget book.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to show up there. I think we weren't expecting them to see them in the budget book, because the budget is just what the voters voted
Right.
on, right? But we wanted to see, we say that we have these open POs,
Right.
right? But we should see that reflected in the general ledger.
I know, but the year is still open.
Yeah.
So
it-
I talked to Paul Calabria
Yeah.
this afternoon, and he said the accountants are still here, so they haven't closed the year.
So they don't
So-
close the year till the audit's complete, is what we're saying.
Yep. So I went back and I printed off June, and in June, in that line, so at the end of the last month of our fiscal year, we had a balance of 121,933 and an encumbrance of 98,470.
Mhm.
So that's the money that we should see once the year closes move over to
Mhm.
that line, as if I'm understanding how these work. But I'll get confirmation from Paul McCallie.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that, you notice something that you're like, have a question about it, so at least if we understand
Yeah.
what's going on, because it's September, right? So it's, I understand. It's a couple months past, so I think we just were like, oh, let's see where that is, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the auditors have been to the library,
Mhm.
because that was like last week.
Yeah,
But I don't know how long it takes, and
okay. It would be just good for us to know, so,
Yeah.
it's the kind of
But-
question, if you don't ask, you might
Right.
regret later on, so it's good to just know where that money is, so.
But then there's also all the POs should be encumbered, and the money that wasn't encumbered into a specific, like materials or programs or office equipment, that also was supposed to go into the building. So
Mhm.
there's that money from last fiscal year and the encumbered money from last fiscal year, so it's a chunk, so.
Yeah, we'll just
follow.
we'll get confirmation that that's.
She's following
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Were there any other questions about the ledger, the invoice manifest, or the open POs?
Yes. So the POs, and I'm going to attribute this because Joanne isn't touching it.
No.
That format has changed,
yes.
and with that, again, I would just sort by account and then by date, and then you can see how everything is aligned. And let me see if I can, where is it? So, hold on, there it is. So it's sort by date, and then I had a question about the TV. So the TV was
Mhm.
purchased. Is
Mhm.
there any reason to keep the PO open?
It's not paid yet,
Oh, good reason.
because Jonathan paid for it, and we need to make sure the library PO is charged, so we're not, until we have a invoice that has a mark on it that says something,
Yep.
Yeah.
unless we have confirmconfirmation that
sense.
we
I
have been
just-
charged, it is staying open.
Yeah, I can see that it was like
Yep.
deducted, but I'm like,
Mhm.
why are they keeping that open? Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
And then, office equipment, and then is that the same case for the elevator doors?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep, I don't have an invoice.
fantastic.
Okay.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions for Yvette about that?
Oh, I do have one more question. I have a document that has all my questions on it. Is it, I don't know how your program works. Is it possible when you do the POs to not sort by date, but, have a range for the dates? 'Cause the general ledger is like the previous month before, the expenditure list is all the previous month before, but the POs are kind of like in the middle of 2 months. Like, this past month, or the one for September, went to September 16th, but it didn't go actually as far back into August. I don't know if you can just sort by like August, all of August or all of September. Do you know?
I don't know if I know what you're asking. We ask finance to send us all of the invoices that were paid in August. So we can say, hey, can you send us all of the invoices that were paid August 15, September 15? We can do
Okay.
that too, but it's always been
Right.
review the month.
Okay.
Why don't you think about what you
Yeah,
you
I
might
know
want
what
in a
I want,
report?
but it's
'Cause
like, I wonder if it's a paid, or I wonder if there's just something in the terms in what they're selecting, because like I looked it up, went through back from July, August, September's
Yeah.
information, and I could see POs in the expenditures, but I never saw them, like they were in the expenditures, but they were never in a PO, but they should have been in a PO, but then the dates didn't match up right. There was no, it's like we were missing a couple days, so.
Yeah, I mean, I can also set any parameters for the general ledger. I just do
Right, which is what I want.
August 1,
Right.
August, which
is good,
but I could do 8th to the 8th. It doesn't matter. You
right?
can do whatever you want.
Okay, all right, I'll just work with it. I thought you could just, I didn't realize that the town was doing it for one, and, yeah, because the other document, the recap of invoices, it was basically, both of them were August 1 to 31, and the expenditures were August 1 to 31. And then this one, I don't know what the start date was, but I saw that the end date was September 14th. So there were some things on the expenditures that weren't in that PO list. So, and I can see that there was a PO attached to it, but it wasn't in the PO list. So, but I think there was just a gap in the dates. That's my guess.
Yep. I mean, also, since you're bringing it up, I think I included something from Jen,
Yes.
which is, the materials ordering and the bill clearing is going to be very staggered.
Exactly.
So it's never going to be, I want to say it's never going to be what you want.
Right.
It's never going to be
It never should be
clean.
what you want.
It's always going to have a little bit of a rough
Right.
edge,
Exactly,
on either
which is why I
side.
pulled up like past POs, because
Mhm.
I was like, okay, that one went here and that one went there, and but like I said, there were some from August that they've been clear, like it said cleared, but yet it just wasn't there. I'll work with it.
Well, and it sounds like it would be easy enough for Yvette to print a different one just as a test if you wanted to see, like next
Sure.
year do the regular, or next month do the regular one, but do one that is more coincides with the end date for the POs, just so you can check and see if that answers your question.
Yeah, I'll see more specifically what I want.
And maybe do like 45 days every month, so you're backing and giving yourself some more information.
Oh, maybe that
Instead
would
of
work,
asking
like a
for a
week
month,
before the
ask
month and the
for-
week after the month.
Ask for a little more, so they're not creating more reports, they're just extending the time frame on the report so you can catch
Yeah.
some stuff on the other ends.
So which ends? I'd rather you give me a specific date
I
than
understand.
have me guess.
I understand.
Okay.
I guess I would do the, what would be a week before? Like the 24th through the 7th
Okay, so 24th, a month,
of a month. So like August 24th through
October,
7th.
we're not in October
I
7th.
know.
But for next month,
For next month.
for like the October,
So you would have, let me understand you.
Sure.
You would have wanted July 24th, September, July 24th, all of August, and some of September,
Yes,
if it was today.
yes.
Okay.
Because then it would capture, hopefully capture some of the
I get what you're saying,
the dates.
all of August.
Does that make sense?
yeah, you can try it and see if that works, and if it does, and if not, it can be changed, so,
Yeah.
thanks for the good suggestion.
That was a good suggestion.
Okay,
Okay.
anything else for Yvette? Okay, policy review, unless I missed something, there were no policy reviews. Any update on grants? That's kind of just hanging out there. Okay, all right, we'll move on to the director's report.
Okay. Let me clear all right, so we received a couple of gifts. The Friends of the Library have given us $300 to sponsor a History of Folk Songs program and $199 to purchase a 3D printer drawing box, a drawing box for the filament.
Great, we would like to thank the Friends of the Library, and I will make a motion that we accept the $300 for the History of Folk Songs program and the $199 for the 3D printer drawing box.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, 500.
Okay, thank you. We received a sewing machine from an anonymous donor. We would like to add this to our Library of Things collection.
I will make a motion that we accept the sewing machine from the anonymous donor for the Library of Things collection.
Second.
All those in favor? 500. Hey, I just heard on NPR the other day they were doing a story that the National Public Library now has a Library of Things. Just letting you know. I know, just letting you know. And
I'm
they were
so-
going on and
I'm
on about
happy
it.
for them.
And I was kind of like, hey.
We've had this story. And it replays a lot. So one of the neat things about this sewing machine is when Jen creates the card that goes with it, it's going to have a QR code with a link to Creative Bug, which has videos on like introduction to your sewing machine so that you can really understand all the features in it. And I viewed the video on Creative Bug, and that's a database that we have. And they have a video that's showing, here's a machine with lots of features, and here's a machine with a few features, so it really kind of, I think it's going to be very helpful. And it's nice because Creative Bug, the videos are curated. It's not just searching YouTube, it's, actual curated content, so that's going to be included with the sewing machine.
It's great.
Oh, that's cool.
It is cool. Okay, we received a Kindle from Pauline Ducharme. We'd like to accept this and have it available for staff training so that staff are better able to assist patrons with this type of device. This actually came up in a conversation in department heads where we were talking about the digital content and having patrons come in and, ask us to help them access Libby or Cloud Library. And, when we're patrons, when the staff are patrons, we read on what we read on. And I read on my device, and I know my device, and if someone happens to come in with a device like mine, I can help them. But if they come in with something that we aren't familiar with, then we really struggle with trying to help them. And I said, what we should do is we should try and get, some of these other devices, and at least the staff can be trained on it, and then we'll be able to help someone. And then Pauline donated one like the next day. And I was like, oh, thank you.
Serendipity.
What we should really
It was
do
great.
is have somebody win the lottery and give a lot of money to the library. I'm just throwing it out there.
I know,
Since you
I know.
threw out the Kindle, it's like.
I know. That would be great. I hope you manifest that.
Specifically for a new building.
Yes,
Oh, that'd be
we'd
great. Well, thank you to Pauline for the donation of the Kindle. And I will make a motion that we accept it.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? 500.
Okay, and I'm going along the trustee report where we have received $37.97 in anonymous donations.
33?
33, did I say 33?
You said 37.
37.
I'm sorry, $33.97 in anonymous donations.
I will make a motion that we accept the $33.97 in anonymous donations.
Second.
All those in favor? 500. Thank you.
Okay, and we also need to cut a check to the Friends because we took in 2 bags.
I think it's 3 bags.
3
and I was
bags?
talking to Alyssa about
Okay.
that because we can absolutely cut a check,
Mm-hmm.
or we can add it and just tell them, like add it as a friend's donation, and basically give them a receipt that says you've donated this much.
Okay.
Either way is totally acceptable. I talked with Alyssa about this because I didn't want to assume, technically it's a donation from a patron that they are buying the bag for a donation to the Friends. But it was like, so is it when you put it in QuickBooks, is it a donation or is it from friends? And so Alyssa and I were talking about it, and I basically said, let's get an agreement one way or the other with the friends.
Mhm.
What do they want to do? Would they prefer to have the money just transferred to them? Completely legit. Or would it be okay just to accept it, and then we would just classify it as a friend's donation? And then it would go under like general donation.
Yeah, it depends on their accounting.
Exactly.
You know, if they
So-
want it to show
Right.
in and out, then.
Right, so it's a conversation
Yeah.
with them.
Okay, they're meeting on the 30th.
Okay.
So I'll bring that up with them. Okay. All right, moving along.
Yep, go right
Okay.
ahead.
Under personnel, I have 2 letters of resignation. I have a letter of resignation from Joanne Marston. Her last day will be October 11th. She is retiring after 24 years of working at the library.
Wow.
Yeah?
Well,
Yep.
I will make a motion that we accept the letter of resignation from Joanne Marston. So,
It's
So-
impressive.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
big thank you.
yes,
Thank you,
Mhm.
Joanne.
yes. I would say we'll accept with regret, but I think she's probably excited for her new adventure. So that while we will miss her, like it's a, yes, so
Yeah.
we will accept with I will make a motion we accept with regret, but with joyous wishes for her. So is
Yeah.
there a second? on
I'll
that?
second.
Okay, all those in favor? 500.
Okay, and I will pass you her PAR that we
Okay.
need to process. Also, I've received a letter of resignation from Stephanie Bennett. Her last day will be the 20th, which is this Friday. She accepted a higher paying non-library job.
I will make a motion that we accept with regret the letter of resignation from Stephanie.
Second.
All those in favor? 500. She's done a lot of wonderful things, and I know that her work on Aspen especially really made a
Mhm.
difference.
Yep.
So thank you to her.
Right. I think, when we get into non-public to talk about different personnel things, I have some ideas from the staff about posting that position.
Okay.
So we can go over that later. There is a funding request from the staff, which I had sent you some information from Kathy, who's the head of youth services. She's requesting $400 of passport funds for a program that would include bringing a photographer to the library and having the photographer take like family portraits of families like for the holidays. She's really creative in terms of really trying to meet kind of the goal that the trustees set for us in terms of reaching unserved or underserved populations in our community. And she thinks this would be a great idea to bring people in who don't normally use the library. I totally agree. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Love it.
I agree,
Love it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Super creative.
Yeah, and I think, basically, if people, can't afford to have holiday pictures taken, it might be for holiday cards or something like that, or just to document where the family is and at this point in time, maybe they would take this opportunity to come into the library and have this photographer take the picture.
Can I say, even if someone I would just it's open to anybody, right? Whether you feel like you can afford it or not. You're here in town, you can walk right in and get them done. It's a great thing.
It's
anybody.
fantastic,
Yes.
but I think her idea is let's try and reach a population that isn't in the library already.
Totally.
You know?
Totally. But I don't want anybody to feel like it's well, we could find the money. I don't want it to be it's not needs based. It's just you come in and can get it taken.
Right. And I asked her, how would you find these people, or how would you identify families that might be at risk? And she said, they would self-identify. So that would
Right. Well, because I don't
be the
want
same
there to
thing.
be, it's just you can come in.
Just come in.
Just come in. There's no need to
Right.
yeah.
Right. Once she has approval for the funding, then she can, negotiate with a photographer about time and how long it would take. I asked her, how did this work before? And we had a Cooking Matters program in 2022, where it was, similar in that we had people come in, and it was 10 families who came in for the Cooking Matters program. So she's thinking at least maybe we can get 10. That was really coming out of the COVID years, so we might even actually get more than that and have a really good response for this. So that she is asking for $400 for that.
I'll make a motion that we give $400 of passport funds for a photographer for the program.
Second.
Is there any further discussion or comments? Okay, all those in favor? 500. It's a great idea.
Thank you. I'll say, they love this.
Mhm.
All right. I don't know if there's anything you want me to speak to. I did speak to the Rotary last Thursday. The Rotary meets on Thursday mornings at the DW Diner, and they invited me to come to their breakfast meeting, and they wanted to hear updates about the library. So I told them the title of my talk is "Why Do We Need Libraries When We Have Google?" And they were incredibly, this is the Rotary. These are people in town who understand the importance of really kind of being involved in your community and doing your civic duty. And they're of course library supporters, very understanding of what it means to have an organization in town like the library, where it's really open access and really kind of the only place in town where you can really see democracy at work, where everyone has access and we don't judge you based on what you want to do with the library or take out of the library. So it was great. I know a lot of people in the Rotary, and they ask us to speak about every year. Last time I sent Reggie to go talk about some databases, and I figured, I'll take my turn this time, but it was really nice.
Great. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, it was
Thank you
really
for
nice.
doing that.
You're welcome.
Can you explain
Yes.
the whole sprinkler thing?
Oh, sure. Okay, so we had Life Safety come out to inspect the sprinkler on the 16th. And during their inspection, they found that the dry valve was not working. So it had to be replaced. I have it in one of these piles. So that had to be replaced, and we had to wait for a part, and then they came back and replaced the part, which the part is it's a substantial thing, to the tune of $4,000.
Is that inside or outside the building? building?
It's in the mechanical room. It's
Okay.
inside the building in the corner where the fire panel is. So they repaired that, and then because of that, they're going through and really doing what we wanted them to do, which is systematically going through the entire system, instead of just kind of a higher level or a lighter inspection. It's like, no, we want the actual inspection. So they ran water through the entire system. It came out of the pipe that sticks out of the north end of the building and into the parking lot. A lot of dirty water. And they're going through and doing a more systematic investigation of the system, and will give us a list, which is what we wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah.
And now, are these the same people that we've contracted with?
Yes.
Okay.
So the contract, these things, the more targeted maintenance inspection of the system is going to be above the contract, which when I had spoken to the vendor saying is, can you also cover this as this? They said, that's going to be above it. But this is exactly what we wanted them to do. So these are going to be additional costs for them to test. And then, of course, repairs that come across are going to be above the regular maintenance contract.
It needs to be done.
It needs to be done.
Yeah.
It needs to be done. So, yep.
And the water at the bottom of the elevator shaft?
That's new. So that is when when they put the wraps on, they found that there was water in the pit. And so we have a proposal from Stanley now to have a what's it called? Cement contractor come in and waterproof the pit. And then we also need to have someone from Stanley to come and put the elevator on standby service so that they can get into the pit. Elevator's gonna be down during the work, obviously, because you can't run the elevator while someone's down there fixing the pit. So we have that proposal. It's $2,784. It has to be done, or the elevator will not pass inspection with water in the pit.
How did the water get in there?
Yeah,
And
that's
how-
where-
did
Through
they,
the cement.
So it's coming up?
It is seeping
groundwater.
in,
Oh.
yes.
so it was not there before?
No one knows that it was there before. We never heard that it was there before. Jared has picked up books that have fallen through the crack, and it was never there before, but now it is there. Yep.
Not related to the installation
I
of the
can't say
elevator?
that. I don't know.
The elevator project that never
I have no idea.
ended.
I don't know. I can't say that, but now there is water.
Oh my.
Yep, so we're gonna go ahead and have that done. And
Mhm.
when it shows up on the general ledger, you'll see it. You'll see all the POs that we're
Yeah,
creating for
kidding.
it, but it has to be
Well,
done.
I mean, to be fair, who knows when you're taking out this old stuff that's in
Yeah,
there,
true.
like,
I don't know.
it was not, yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know.
Well, you can't have water in there, so.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
So, Yep, that's going. Do you have questions about other things on here?
No.
No?
I don't think I want it, no.
No.
I
It's like, I just wanted extra
It's,
information.
it's just like any project, even in your home, we all know, right? You think that this is the project, and then you find out, oh no, that was that part of the project, but there's all these other parts that go with it.
Iceberg effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even a home project, you can't do
Yeah.
it without at least 2 extra trips to Home Depot. It just it is what it is. That's just the way it rolls.
It's true.
Yeah, so, yep,
100%, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Yvette.
you're welcome.
All right, treasurer's report.
Okay. So on the balance sheet, well, first of all, did anybody have any questions? Thoughts, concerns? So for the month of August, the beginning balance for fines was $3,577.31. And we ended the month with $3,607.85. Then there it is. And then for special, we began the month with $51,888.25. $869.86, and then we ended the month with $52,831.62. Questions? Okay, so, I think that was the first thing. So there are a couple other things I wanted to just bring up to you for the board for just FYI information. I think I mentioned last month that I sent a note to the trustees of trust funds asking for the distribution of trusts. $4,000 from the Patterson Lawrence Carroll Trust and $2,000 from the Roxana Lawrence Trust. We had approved that in our budget, which it passed. We are getting that money. On August 23rd, Chris Christensen, the chair of the Trustees of Trust Fund, sent me a note that said the disbursements were approved. So he said we should be getting a check next week, which was the 23rd. So I will ask him about that, because he made it, like it said, you should receive checks next week, which would have been the last week of August. So be on the lookout, and I'll ask him about it since it hasn't arrived. He also wanted us to know that as of June 30th, 2024, the Quimby Fund has accumulated income of $1,904. The Patterson Lawrence Carroll has $25,087.7, and then the Anna Lawrence has $19,212. On August 20th, the Department of Justice Charitable Trust, New Hampshire Charitable Trust through the Department of Justice, asked for a copy of our investment policy and our annual report. We run a calendar year annual report, which goes in the town report. I initially had sent that in February, but I'm not sure if I sent it to the right person. So a different person had emailed Yvette, and she passed it on to me, so I sent the same information. This was back in August. So we need to send the investment policy in our annual report. So because we hold a trust, we have to do that. And then on September 4th, the finance director asked for the June bank statements for fiscal year 23-24 to close up the line 38 for the audit. And I sent that as well as the fidelity statement. And then the last thing is there are some there's some transactions that we need to move some money. So on July 31st, $17 was deposited into special. It needs to be deposited into fines. So I motion to move $17 from special to fines.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Janet on that? Okay, all those in favor? 500.
And then all our Square transactions go into an account that really isn't used. It's just a repository for doing certain transactions through DCU. So whether it's special or fines, it gets deposited into this account. It's called primary savings. That's just what the DCU calls it. So from July 22nd to the end of August, I figured out where all the money needed to go. If you're interested, I can show you the spreadsheet, but it basically is $288.25 from primary needs to go into fines, and $291.50 needs to go from primary to special. So I'd like to move that money.
What's the second dollar amount?
$291.50.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty cool because it's 288 and 291. Like that's like pretty even.
And where's
like, wow,
that?
they're pretty close.
Where's that 291 moving from and to?
So it's 291.50 from primary savings to special.
Okay.
And the other one is 288.25 from primary savings into fines.
Great, got that.
So
Thank you.
I'd like to move that money from primary savings to each respective.
Second.
Is that a motion? That's
Yes.
a motion? Okay. And
I move to
second by-
transfer $288.25 from primaries into fines. That's one. And then I move to transfer $291.50 from primary savings to special.
And Robbie seconded. Any questions for Janet?
I have a question.
It's
Are
okay.
these things that we've already moved?
These are things that are, this is actually just the money. So it's accounted for correctly in QuickBooks.
Okay.
Like, so in primary savings, it'll say like, fines, replacement, or collection in, or
Right.
all passport money. So it's
Right.
all accounted for correctly.
Yep.
This is literally the physical money that needs to go into the correct checking accounts.
Okay.
That's what
I
it
just,
is.
because Alyssa or I are changing it in QuickBooks.
So it's, in QuickBooks, it's allocated correctly.
Okay.
So when a transaction comes in for,
Yes.
Square,
Whatever.
you guys go,
Mhm.
like, fines in, you'll say fines, replacement for class, and then let's say they also did a passport, and then you'll do special income, passport, and you'll say passport, and then passport for class. Well, so in QuickBooks, it thinks, oh, it received $35 from passports and let's say $10 for the fines, but that money is sitting
Oh, I
in,
see what you're saying. Okay.
is sitting in
Yeah,
the
okay.
savings.
Okay.
So that's what it is. So this is the physical money needs to get put in the correct accounts.
Okay, so you're gonna, are you saying moving forward, you're gonna always do that motion and we'll just manage the books?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know. We've just started this.
Yeah.
This is the first time, so.
Okay,
I don't know. We'll
Okay.
see. Maybe, I don't know. The thing is you don't have access to the accounts. So one of us has to move the money. So you account for it correctly, but then
Yeah.
it's just gonna continually sit in this primary savings and
Okay.
nothing's gonna happen to it.
okay,
So, I don't know, we can work with it. We'll see what happens.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor? 500. Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, I have another question.
No problem.
I sound like you now.
It's all good.
So, you have received the trustees of the trust fund amounts now, yes?
Yes,
So we can have them now, and we can start tracking them?
yes.
Okay, so is it gonna be 4,000, 2,000, is it 1904 for Quimby?
We have
Or-
no Quimby this year.
Okay, so, okay,
There's no Quimby this year. And I do have actually on my notes
Yeah.
how it's allocated.
okay, that'd be great.
So it's 2,400 to sustaining the library, 400 to large print.
Wait.
Sorry.
How about if,
For-
Janet, you send that to Yvette? I'll put that on an action item, right, that way she'll have it in an email.
I can do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then I'll forward it to Jen
Yeah,
and,
I think that's
Yeah.
easier
Okay.
than.
perfect. Thank you. Excellent.
I
Um,
can do this right now.
I have a question about finances also, but it's really more, forgive me if I'm wrong on the timetable, but when are we gonna evaluate how the collections is going, the collection agency stuff? Do you remember when that was? We, Circulation had hired a collection agency, and so we were gonna kinda do it for a few months and see, maybe you could just check in with Alyssa and see if she
Yeah.
has an update for us on, so we can just take a look and see if that's a
Okay.
program that's worth
Sure.
sustaining, so, thank you. Okay, anything else, Janet?
I don't think so. Let me look.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, then we'll move on to acceptance of minutes. We have the August 20th, 2024 public meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
Second?
Okay, were there any corrections, changes, or comments? Okay, all those in favor? 500, thank you. We also have non-public meeting minutes as well from August 20th, 2024. I'll make a motion to accept those.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor? 500. Great, thank you very much, Molly. Building Exploratory Committee, nothing has been done with that. Friends of the Merrimack Public Library, we have a book sale coming up. They have a
Book sale happened.
Okay, you can see where
Yes.
my life has been. They had a book sale, and
had
it
a
was,
sale.
and I'm sure it was wonderful. So
Yes, the
Okay.
book sale went very well. They made about $1,300 over the 2 days.
oh, great.
I think that's right. And their next meeting is the end of this month, the
Okay.
last Monday.
Alrighty. Robbie, were you going to be able to go to that, or would you like me to do that?
I went to the last one.
Okay. So I forget which one, what you were interested in going to.
I think this is the one that I was gonna try to make it to.
Okay.
And that's next Monday,
It's like the 30th.
30th, okay. Yeah, I think my understanding is my calendar was clear that day, so I can do
Okay.
that.
Okay, thanks. Erin, did you have anything to report from the last meeting?
I thought it was really interesting getting to see the programs that
Uh-huh.
were coming to request money. You know, Yvette already mentioned the songwriter stuff and the 3D printer stuff. Also, there were gift cards purchased for the staff, as in their rewards for summer reading, so that was really nice. The friends were really excited to do that. It was fun. So, no, I think that was it. They decided on the date for the book sale. But yeah, it was very interesting. So
Thanks. Well, if something comes up and you can't go, let us know. And
yeah, let me
Thank
know.
you.
I'm more than happy.
Yeah, thanks for going to that one, too.
Okay, the development fund, I was not able to make it, but Yvette went in my stead.
I went in both of ours.
Yvette is there anyways. She was me as well as herself that day.
It was
so.
a lot. So the big takeaways is that Nelson is stepping down as chair. Holly is also stepping down as treasurer. She's moved out of town, so she is not eligible anymore to be treasurer. Pat Heinrich is going to take over as treasurer. She was appointed by the board. And then they're going to decide at their next meeting, which is on the 28th of October, to have Pauline step down as secretary, become chair, and then have Janice step up to be secretary. Because
Okay.
they were trying to find the members of the committee who've been in their positions longer rather than having a new person chair. They also asked us to post the opening, or just general openings, if there's interest in the community to serve on this board, just to contact the chair. So,
Great.
yep, so that's the main takeaway from that.
Well, thank you very much to both Nelson and Holly. They have been really dedicated to this committee for many years,
Mhm.
and they will certainly be missed. So, okay, thank you.
Sure.
In the town center, we talked about that, and people will consider whether they'd like to get involved. Personnel committee will be addressing some of this in the non-public. Finance committee, we have not met since we did the salary survey. Building committee.
We're meeting Thursday.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Is there anything else for the public meeting? The action items I have is that Janet is going to send the trust fund amounts to Yvette. I will send out the emails and get dates going for an October retreat. We are going to, I will let you know when changes have been made to the survey, just so you can know that's the final one that you're seeing. And Yvette is going to ask Alyssa to get us information on the collections and how that is going. Anything else?
I just pulled forward the org chart.
Oh, the org chart one, thank you. Yes, Yvette will send the org chart to everybody. Okay, great.
I do have a question, and this is more for Jen Stover because of the picture that you sent. Where did these numbers come from?
What numbers?
The numbers on
Polaris.
the total allocated.
Yep.
That's
That's
those
Polaris.
are the numbers. But where did they come from? Maybe Jen can answer.
When we, at the beginning of a fiscal year, Polaris turns over the same time our fiscal year turns over, we turn it over. And then we put our budget amounts into Polaris, and then purchasing happens through Polaris. And so you'll see the deduction as items are purchased and received.
Okay, so there appears to be a carryover.
Mm-hmm.
don't know how that actually works. And I say that because when I totaled those total allocated, it's actually more than what's budgeted in the general ledger.
Mhm.
So if you guys actually spent all that, it would be more than what's allocated from the budget. So I was confused.
She might need to, I mean, if you want to schedule a finance meeting and sit down and talk with her about how
Sure.
that works,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Okay,
fine.
sure. Okay. All right, upcoming events. Friends of the Library will meet on September 30th at 7 p.m. in the Director's Office. The Trustees will have our next meeting October 15th, 7 p.m. right here in the Merrimack Memorial Room, Town Hall Complex. And the Development Fund Committee will meet October 28th, 2024 at 5 p.m. in the Lowell Room. I know this is not a library event, but for all the book lovers out there, the first New Hampshire Book Festival is coming to New Hampshire. It's going to be held in Concord, October 4th and 5th. There's going to be authors there, there's events. I just thought I'd throw it out there for anybody who's interested. It's the first one, and hopefully there'll be many more.
What's
So
it called?
it's the New Hampshire Book Festival. It's in Concord. The speaker on Friday night for a ticketed event is the woman who wrote the book The Plot. And Kate D. Camillo, beloved children's author, is going to be there. She's doing something for families or maybe even school groups the morning of that Friday. And then the evening of that Saturday, she's doing an event, again, a ticketed one, where there's like, she's going to talk about one of her books and how it became a movie. But then all throughout the day on Saturday, there's going to be different events going on, authors that you can go and meet, just a celebration of books. So I thought I would just throw it out there for people if you're interested. And, you know, the more people that go, the more we can sort of invest in this literary event. So, okay. And with that, we will be going into non-public. So I'll make a motion that we go into non-public session per 91A32A personnel. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Erin. And we will do a roll call vote. Janet?
Yes.
I say yes. Erin?
Yes.
Robbie?
Yes.
And Molly?
Yes.
Okay, and then we are in non-public at 8:10.